Good morning, everyone. This is John with Gun.Deals, and today we're going to be taking a look at the premium Griffin Armament Mark 1 upper receiver. But before we get into the video, if you'd like to help us out personally, you can, of course, like, share, and subscribe, as that is all free and does help us out quite a bit. Also, go ahead and comment your favorite top tier / premium upper receiver in the comments down below. Now, what do I mean by premium? This upper receiver costs about $1,300 for just the upper receiver by itself. Now, keep in mind, Griffin Armament is one of the few companies selling a complete upper receiver, I'll say, because it does actually include their iron sights as well, which we'll get into in the video, but the iron sights are pretty fantastic and probably a couple $100 worth of value, so it's in the ballpark of some of the more expensive upper receivers. Now, full disclosure, Griffin Armament did send this out to me for review for free, so I did not pay for this upper receiver whatsoever. They also sent me out their hub adapter for their silencer mounting system, which the YGEM Turbo K is currently hooked up to, so we'll go ahead and get into all of that throughout the video. Now, getting into just what is the Griffin Armament Mark 1, this one that we have here, this is the 11.5-223 Wild. They do sell it in different lengths, and I believe 300 blackout as well. But again, this is, for the most part, what you're going to be getting with a few different length options. Now, starting off with the barrel is going to be one of my main points of contentions with the build. The barrel is a 11.5-223 Wild 416R stainless steel barrel, and it is a heavy SOCOM profile barrel, or an M4A1 profile, which is, again, one step underneath a heavy barrel. Now, they call their barrels the HEDP, the High Endurance Dual Purpose System. However, I would call it the MELP, the Medium Endurance Limited Purpose Barrel. Now, the reason why I am not personally as keen on their barrel system as they are is because I think the cons, no pun intended, outweigh the pros. So getting into the idea behind an 11.5 heavy barrel, 416R stainless steel, 416R stainless steel, generally speaking, has very good mechanical properties for accuracy. You combine that with a heavy barrel, and that's going to give you reduced variations, reduced harmonics in the barrel, so on and so forth, to, in theory, give you very good accuracy over a wide variety of loads. So in theory, you should have a very smooth accuracy curve between different manufacturers, grain weights, so on and so forth. Now, their dual purpose is that they're also black nitriding it, which is going to help to increase the barrel life because it is very hard, very heat resistant, very lubricious, so on and so forth. And black nitride is a very good coating. However, the downside of 416R stainless steel is that it has about half the barrel life of the appropriate 4140 or 4150 barrel steel. So it is definitely on the side of accuracy, and you can try to extend that 416R stainless steel barrel life with nitride. The barrel itself is also 1 in 8 twist, which is fantastic, as well as 5R rifled, which again, in theory, can help to extend that barrel life, but we're still never going to be reaching a properly 4140, 4150 barrel steel. Now, the weight on the barrel, I believe, with the gas block installed is like 26.5 ounces, something like that, which is going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 ounces heavier than a comparable standard profile on an 11.5 style barrel like the Geisley taper profile, which is, again, in the same ballpark in terms of price. So again, the first part of that HEDP barrel system, that high endurance portion, that might be correct when you're comparing it to other 416R stainless steel barrels. However, it's not going to be true when you compare it to any appropriately manufactured 4140 or 4150 barrels. Now, maybe that trade-off is worth it to you for that additional accuracy because, again, it is 416R stainless steel combined with a heavy barrel profile. So it should, in theory, give you very good mechanical accuracy. Unfortunately, we didn't really see that in our testing. So at this point in time, we will continue to test it and get much higher round counts on it in the future. But at this point, it's not particularly accurate compared to other lighter profile barrels and 4140, 4150 profile barrels. It's more expensive and it's less durable. So again, I think they could retain 99% of the accuracy and about double their barrel life just by swapping to a more appropriate barrel steel. Because again, they do rate these as duty grade, hard use, super durable systems. But again, that 416R stainless steel, for me personally, doesn't make any sense. And when we get into accuracy later on, you'll see that it does not compare favorably to other, again, lighter, cheaper 4140, 4150 barrels on the market that are also going to be more durable as well. Now, getting into how the barrel is actually put together, again, the specs on it are pretty fantastic. You have 5R rifling, 1 in 8 twist. Again, something else that should also allow you to have a very soft accuracy curve over a wide variety of loads. In general, most people think that 1 in 8 is the best overall twist rate for a 5.56/223 wild chambering, because again, in theory, it should give you a very good accuracy curve. Now, getting into the gas block installation, this is one of the very few barrels that is actually double dimpled, and then on top of that, it is also pinned to the barrel itself. So as far as gas block installation goes, absolutely fantastic, no complaints whatsoever. The second thing that I do have to praise them for is the gassing on the barrel. Out of the box, it is one of the softest 11.5 uppers on the market. Now, it is a little bit on the heavy side because of that heavy barrel, but even so, with a 62 grain M855, it was ejecting about 330 right out of the box, which is again fantastic. With the suppressor on, with some of the other stuff that we're going through later on, it also performs very well suppressed. They claim that the gas ports are optimized for suppressed and unsuppressed shooting, and I absolutely agree with them. Again, the gassing on the barrel, fantastic. The gas block installation, bomb-proof, no issues there. Now, getting into the rail system. The rail system is another area where they did a really good job, in my opinion. It is a M-LOK rail, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, and they're using an aluminum barrel nut, but with that aluminum barrel nut, it's coming in at under 10 ounces installed. Now, the mounting mechanism to the barrel nut itself, you have 4 steel clamps on the bottom, which is not my favorite as far as installation goes, and if it were just that, I would not be very happy with the rail whatsoever. However, there is a steel bolt that actually goes directly into the barrel nut through the handguard. So for the handguard to shift, the barrel nut itself would also need to shift, which would be an insane amount of force on the rail itself. So again, the rail is, I believe, on this 10.5 inches long because it comes right out to the edge of the muzzle. Looks very good, and it is extremely lightweight. Now, M-LOK at the 3, 6, and 9, that's enough M-LOK for me personally. The reason that a lot of companies don't do full 7-sided M-LOK is you actually need more material to support that M-LOK. So having 7-sided M-LOK is actually heavier than having the vents at the intermediate positions. Now, with that being said, what they have done is it's difficult to get a shot of it with the suppressor on, but I'll show you some B-roll of it. The handguard itself actually has rails running on the inside all the way down with one of their custom extrusions. So you actually have essentially reinforcement ridges on the inside to enhance the rigidity of the rails. So the lockup, with it being bolted directly to the barrel nut, I think that is about the best way to go personally. It's also very simple, very lightweight. The rail itself is slim, has all the M-LOK that I personally need, and with those reinforcement ridges all the way down on the inside, is also extremely rigid. So again, as far as the rail goes, it's lightweight, it's strong, the mounting mechanism is very good, has most of the M-LOK full-length Picatinny. I don't have any problems with the handguard either, and again, it's in that premium price category for a reason. Now, another very nice thing for me personally is, as you see it, these 3 rail panels come pre-installed from the factory, so you do not need to set them up whatsoever. And this is generally how I run most of my shorter ARs anywhere, some sort of hand stop, angled foregrip, something like that. Now, the rail panels themselves are M-LOK, so they are actually bolted to the handguard itself. On top of that, they have these very nice scales to give you some extra grip, much more than just the slick, anodized aluminum of the handguard. Now, one thing about running shorty ARs, especially suppressed, especially in the heat, is that they do get hot very quickly. So having these rail panels installed and ready to go is going to help protect your hands, plus gloves, meaning you can use it for a lot longer period of time and not burn yourself. Now, moving back to the upper receiver in less than 10 seconds, it's a 7075 T6 aluminum mil-spec upper receiver with a W forge mark, and that's it. Now, going to the bolt carrier group. The bolt carrier group is another area where it's not really anything special. It's just a nice bolt carrier group. So they do offer it in Carpenter 158 and 9310. As you see it here, it is 9310. I believe it's magnetically particle inspected, shot peened, it's ground before and after, polished. It is just a black nitride BCG, but it is, again, just done to a very high level. They go into a lot of detail on their website about all of the different processes, so on and so forth, that they go into on the BCG. Now, on the bolt itself, you of course have relief cuts behind the lugs, nice champering and radiusing as well. The bolt itself seems to be very high quality. The gas seal is very nice. You have a very, very tight fit between your bolt and your carrier. All good there. Grade 8 fasteners, properly staked. Everything is done to TDP. I don't have any problems with the carrier itself. It's not necessarily the nicest one on the market. It doesn't have any like enhanced special features. It's just a very nice mil-spec-ish bolt carrier group. And I believe they also do offer it in a phosphate chrome, though again, the standard black nitride. Black nitride is basic, but it is a very good coating. And again, they go into great detail about how this black nitride is better than some of the others on the market, which so far it's held up very well versus some other upper receivers that come worn from the factory and the coating basically wears off instantaneously. Now, getting into the charging handle, this is actually one of my favorite pieces of the build. This is what they call the snatch charging handle, or just the snatch, the suppressor normalized ambidextrous charging handle. And as far as names go, that is definitely not the worst. Now, starting out up front here on the actual carrier hook, it does have a lot more material. They reinforce that area quite a bit. So if you ever did need to mortar the gun or yank on it really hard, or just again over years and years of hard use, that is going to hold up a lot better than even mil-spec style charging handles. It is a 70-75 charging handle, so it is the proper material as well. Getting into the wings, it is of course ambidextrous. They're very large, they're knurled, easy to grab with or without gloves on, and it has a very interesting cutout here on the right side of the charging handle, and that does a lot to redirect the gases. So there is actually a flow pattern in here that then pushes the gases out in front of the charging handle on the right-hand side, venting them away from your eyes and mouth, breathing it in, gassing out your face, so on and so forth. Now, on top of that, as far as suppressor normalization, it also has a much higher ridge in the back. That is going to allow it to have a tighter seal to the upper receiver. Again, in theory, limiting some of those additional gases back to the shooter's face and giving you a more pleasant experience overall. Now, it does all of that while being less than 2 ounces, so it's not particularly heavy or bulky. Does a good job of redirecting the gas via the actual port itself, and of course the higher ridge as well, on top of the fact that it is actually reinforced up front, so it is stronger than a lot of other charging handles on the market. No complaints whatsoever, and again, for a expensive, high-quality build, I would expect to see a nice, well-designed charging handle like the Snatch. Now, last part of the build that we need to talk about is actually going to be these iron sights. The iron sights do ship with it from the factory, which means that this is one of the few actually complete upper receivers, meaning that you can take it out of the box and go directly to the range without slapping anything else on it. Now, I would of course recommend a red dot, LPVO, something else. On an 11.5, probably a red dot or a prism makes the most sense, but it's going to also depend on what you want to use it for. Now, these iron sights, in my opinion, are pretty fantastic. They're extremely low profile, very rigid. They're 17-4 stainless steel, meaning, of course, that they are extremely strong. They do, again, have a very positive lock and unlock, maybe a little bit too positive. It is very good metal-on-metal contact. On top of that, they only come in at just over 2 ounces, which is going to be about the same as some of the plastic sights on the market, whereas these are true steel sights. As far as precision goes, they look very good. They're at the proper height. Again, fully adjustable. On an 11.5, you don't have the most sight radius, but it is still going to work very well, especially if you practice with them. Though again, I'm almost always running a dot or some sort of magnified optic. Getting into the muzzle device on this build, and the reason why I did not mention it earlier is because the upper receivers don't come with muzzle devices, at least as far as I interpret it from their website, which seems a little bit ridiculous considering that Griffin Armament is known for their suppressors, a lot of very hard use, very, duty grade suppressors, so on and so forth. And so the fact that they don't come with a muzzle device from the factory, not even like an A2, at least I'm not sure if they throw on an A2 or something like that, does seem a little bit silly. The muzzle device that they sent out with this build to me, because again, they sent all of this out to me, was their 3-prong 2¼ inch flash hider, which will work on like a pin and weld 14.5 using their suppressor mounting system. Now, they also sent me out their adapter as well, so I could use my YHM Turbo K on this build, and it works very well. Now, the mounting system, as you can probably tell, does add about 1 inch and about 4 ounces to whatever suppressor you're going to be using it on. So something that I've switched over all my other suppressors to and guns to is going to be the Reardon Plan B, which is extremely short and lightweight, about half the length and weight of a lot of other ratcheting style systems. Now, this is not actually a ratcheting style system. So you have your Acme you have your Acme threads behind the taper. That does screw down into position. And then once the suppressor is torqued down onto the taper, you simply take your locking ring and lock it into position. And once it's all the way down flush with the back of the adapter, that's when it's in the lock position. It actually has teeth on the bottom of the adapter that lock into the ring on the bottom so that the suppressor cannot move one way or the other whatsoever. So it's not a ratcheting system. It is what they call their dual lock system. So you have the Acme threads, the taper, and then of course the actual locking ring on the bottom. So it is impossible for it to back out or tighten down. It cannot move whatsoever. It is a very dependable system, a very durable system. Again, there's nothing wearing out like a ratcheting system every time you take it on and off. There is no ratcheting, so there's no metal on metal wearing every time you take the suppressor on and off. On top of that, the lockup is very, very secure. So as far as like a very hard use duty style lockup goes, I really like it. The only downside there is going to be the size, weight, and cost penalty, because I think this adapter is like $250 by itself, which is on the more expensive side of things for sure. And it is again bigger and heavier as well. As far as the muzzle device itself goes, as a 3-prong flash hider, does a great job, is able to be pin and weld with their dual lock system. Dependable, durable, rock solid, but again, it's a little big and heavy, at least compared to some other systems on the market. Now, again, in a hard use context, do you particularly care about a couple more ounces, or are you more concerned about having less POI shift and a more durable, dependable lockup? You're probably much more worried about those two things than a couple ounces here or there. So that should cover all of the parts in the Griffin Armament Mark 1. Now, when it comes to actually shooting the thing, how it performs, well, as I mentioned earlier, it does a very, very good job at the shooty thing. It is very, very softly gassed for suppressed or unsuppressed shooting. It works very well with the snatch charging handle as well to be less gassy to the face. Again, on top of the fact that it is a properly gassed barrel from the factory. As far as shooting the thing goes, it is a very, very pleasant experience. Keep in mind, it is a little bit on the heavy side, just the upper receiver itself, not combining all of the other stuff that I threw onto it to make it a very heavy system. So as far as shooting the thing goes, it performs very well. One of my favorite 11.5s is going to be comparable to a Geisley 11.5 or some of the other nicer upper receivers on the market in terms of gassing. Raw shooting performance is very, very high. I don't think this upper receiver is going to hold back anyone in terms of speed. Now, in terms of accuracy testing, it didn't do all that great, especially for, again, we have a 416R stainless steel heavy barrel that in theory should provide you with very, very tight groupings. Now, the 3 loads that we tested for accuracy was 62 grain L2A1, which is just an M855 clone. We have ADI 69 grain match, and then some Federal gold medal match 69 grain as well. And we got anywhere from 1.5 to 3 MOA across the board. Not particularly fantastic. Keep in mind that the groups that I was shooting that day were with a Continental 1:6. So I didn't have that much magnification, so I was shooting at 50 yards, so you need to double those group sizes at 100 yards. The accuracy was all right. Keep in mind that we're at a fairly low round count, so maybe as we get more ammunition through it, it will break in a little bit more, and the accuracy will tighten up. We'll get some heavier loads in there as well. But as it stands right now, it didn't really perform any better than a lot of generic 11.5s on the market. 11.5 Hansons, 11.5 Roscoe, Bloodline barrels, just their nitride 4150 barrels, have performed better in terms of accuracy. On top of that, again, I've mentioned it a little bit in this video, but the Geisley 11.5 also performed better for about the same price. Lighter, way more durable as well. Cold hammer forged, chrome lined, same price as well for the barrels. Again, it's lighter, more accurate in my testing, and way more durable. So as of right now, with their HEDP barrel system, I'm not really getting the benefit that I would hope to see out of a heavy 416R stainless steel barrel. And again, in terms of durability, it might be very good for a 416 barrel, but it's probably still not going to compete with even some of the more basic 4140 or 4150 barrels on the market that also performed a little bit better in terms of accuracy while also being lighter and cheaper. And this isn't just my complaint with the Griffin Armament system, this is my complaint with basically every short, heavy 416, 5.56 barrel, especially if they're marketed towards a very hard duty use sort of context. I think that they don't really make that much sense. You might be getting this much extra performance in terms of accuracy, but you're generally heavier, more expensive, and way less durable. So again, the cons outweigh the pros. Now, the rest of the system, I think the handguard is fantastic. I think the way that they mount the gas block to the barrel, double dimpled plus pinned, fantastic. Handguard, again, super lightweight, super rigid. The BCG is perfectly fine. Again, it's nothing really special. The handguard, or not the handguard, sorry, the charging handle, the snatch charging handle is fantastic. I would buy this on its own. It does come with very nice iron sights. It comes with the rail panels installed. It doesn't come with a muzzle device for some reason. However, their muzzle devices are good if you're looking for just a very, very strong, durable lockup, something that's never going to shift or come loose on you. I think it can definitely make sense for that application. Again, there's just a size, weight, and cost penalty for going with their system. Now, with all that out of the way, guys, let me know what you guys think of the Griffin Armament Mark 1 or any of their other components. And with all that out of the way, guys, I do want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace off.